Now, the late 80s and early 90s marked possibly some of the darkest times in the struggle for freedom in South Africa. Over 20,000 people were killed over that period in KwaZulu-Natal alone. Today, the eThekwini Municipality will host the Siyabakhumbula Memorial Day. It will be held in uMgababa, where 29 people were killed in 1992. Reporter Lethiwe Mdluli is there and joins us now for the very latest. A very good morning to you, Lethiwe Mdluli. Perhaps walk us through the proceedings that we can expect to take place today as we remember those who became victims of the violence during the apartheid times.
Well, Rofiwa, this morning we are in uMgababa. Actually, we are right now at the memorial site. I just want to show you what is currently happening. Right now, what you're seeing right there is the memorial site that has been placed here in uMgababa. As you correctly stated, over 20,000 people lost their lives in the early 90s and the early 80s due to the political infighting that was taking place in this province. And uMgababa is one of those areas where a lot of people lost their lives due to that political infighting. We do understand that the infighting was between political parties, mainly the ANC and the IFP. At the moment, there are family members that are arriving at this site, and we're also seeing members of the Umkhonto weSizwe who will be taking part in this event. But right now, I'm joined by the local councillor, Mr. Mgababa. I want to ask him about the significance of this day because, of course, every year these heroes are remembered. Babu Mgababa, thank you so much for joining us at eNCA. Take us through the significance of this day. We can see that there are members of the community and also family members who are present here today. Take us through why we need to remember these people and what happened here in uMgababa.
Well, firstly, thanks. Good morning to the viewers. The need for us to commemorate these fallen heroes or struggle heroes is an important mark in the history of the struggle that took place in South Africa. I think as you've mentioned, the situation and the numbers of people who lost their lives in KwaZulu-Natal during the political violence. So that now has become a history that must be told, so that the usually told stories about our freedom being the one that was not cheap is a resemblance of such an incident of massacred people in uMgababa for many years. Not only uMgababa, we remember the Makuta had the same experience of massacres and so on. I think part of the importance of us commemorating is that the TRC process really did not unpack entirely all the experiences and the pain that really was inflicted on many families, as we are gathered here with family members who no longer have their brothers, no fathers, no their children who no longer have their fathers, mainly because of the experiences and the loss that took place over the time. So we decided that every year we should remember in this part of history, because symbols and history are important in the life of our struggle. It tells the story, because for generations now who have not been exposed in the time in the early 90s where 29 people would have been butchered and killed in one day, will never be able to to make sense of the freedom that they have today. So it's very important for all of us to keep this light up so that people know their history, just like how we know how the oppressive government of Malan and the symbols that it keeps over years. There are some areas where we complain about the border statues in town. It tells us a very painful stories in Seoul. So part of decolonizing is to unearth this part of political history that many of our generation might have not been able to be part of. So we are indeed here that different organizations, particularly Umkhonto weSizwe, the other organization and the families, to make this day a significant commemoration, to say to them, wherever they are as leaders in the spirit, they are never forgotten, because what they sacrificed for made the mark for this community.
You touched on the TRC hearings that took place in the early 90s following this political violence. We've heard members and families who were affected personally share their stories. A lot of people actually came from uMgababa that shared these horrific stories. What are some of the stories that the families have told you about what happened during that time? And a lot of people are not happy with what came out of that commission. Right now, what are families saying? Will they be moving forward from what happened, or will they want to revisit that time and tell the actual stories that happened?
Well, even though we appreciate that we have an opportunity of remembering these fallen heroes, we know that it obviously rip up the wounds to families, because they tell us about these kind of experience. I think one case, the Mdluli family, who while Mr. Mdluli was marrying his wife, there was an ambush and attack, and quite a number of people were injured and killed during that time. We have quite a number of similar stories in eNCA and many others where people were brutally murdered because part of the reason is that uMgababa was really a stronghold of the African National Congress, but it was providing kind of training that was necessary as a retaliation against the apartheid police force that was killing all over the townships and even here in uMgababa. So we have those stories which are painful, because some of them, the families, of course, they paid the highest price. We are breathing today, we're able to tell the story, and they are not there. Yeah.
Take us through what we can expect today. I know that there will be some speakers that we can expect. It is an event by the municipality, so I'm guessing the mayor will be here. What are other significant speakers that we can expect?
We have also, invited provincial leadership from the province. We expect the chairperson, who's also the Minister of Economic Development, to be part or to join us. We are expecting also the President Jacob Zuma, the former president, to be part with us, mainly because his role during the poll time in KwaZulu-Natal in bringing peace. We are also, as you said, that we are part of the community that was touched by the poll violence. He also played a very crucial role in terms of bringing about the peace between the battles that took place here. So he will be also joining us as a keynote speaker to give us a very important message for us to consider, and other leaders will confirm them as they come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Rafiwa, that is Councillor Arthur Mgobozi. He is basically telling us the significance behind this day and what we can expect moving forward. Like he mentioned, the former President Jacob Zuma will be joining in to remember the heroes and those victims that lost their lives during the political instability here in the province.